do you all want to do a sharp 11:30 start or wait for a couple more to trickle in?
I'm fine to wait.
Leave that to my speakers. I want to be respectful of Mary and Winbush and Nathan's time. I'm down to do whatever you all want to do.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I'm
missed that. What
happy
was
to
that?
wait.
Sorry, what was that? You guys kind of talked
Oh
over
no, I
each
I was
said I
just
other.
about
missed that. What did you guys say?
whether we should start on
Oh,
time or wait a bit.
I mean, I'm totally
Um,
happy to kick it off. If you want to start now?
how long was it again? We're doing an hour up here, yeah.
yeah, like 40 minutes and then some Q&A. Mary, you ready to
Okay.
start? Mary?
Mary, you might be muted. Is there a mic button below you that has an X through it? Mary, if you can hear me, hop onto the Zoom really quick. Hi, yes, I can. Are you having issues with your mic?
All right, I'm back. Let me mute.
All right, now we hear you.
All right.
I guess we're ready to roll, Brooke.
Yeah,
All
ready.
right.
Do it.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an amazing talk about to start, and I will let the artist speak to this topic. But without further ado, Metaversing, immersive media, Tokenomics, and fans. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Brooke, and thanks everybody for joining us this morning. How's everybody's South by so far? Well, without further ado, I just want to jump into our panel because we've got some great panels today talking about what we're all doing in the metaverse. And I figured since people are brunching, adulting, we can all be metaversing. So my for our first panelist to my right here is Mary Spio, who is the chief executive officer and the chief visionary for CEEK VR, and I will let her say a few things about herself, and then introduce the rest of our panelists.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Spio. I'm the founder and CEO of CEEK VR. And what we're doing in the metaverse is we allow music artists, sports teams, and other creators to connect with their fans in virtual worlds. And today we're working with the likes of Lady Gaga, Demi Lovato, and a whole slew of music artists. Super excited to be here today and to see all of you here
And
in
we
the
actually
metaverse.
we actually have a clip to show from what Mary and CEEK VR are doing. We'll roll that on screen right now. Maybe. We love our technology. Argos.
Something's happening over there. Maybe.
No, I don't think our clip
No.
is running. Okay, so we'll come back to the clips shortly. Just I don't want to keep the room hesitated here. So I will introduce our next speaker, Jonathan Winbush, who is the creative director and working across many brands and exciting fan experiences. But today he's here to talk about the Metaverse. So take away, Winbush.
What up? What up? Winbush here. My name is Jonathan Winbush, aka Winbush for short. I'm a motion graphics artist based out of Southern California. I primarily worked before in television and movies for companies like Warner Brothers, Marvel, DC, Discovery Channel. There's a whole slew of them. More recently, I've been getting into the crypto space. I've been doing NFTs for the past year and a half. And most recently, I've linked up with Ray Acosta and Method Man of the Wu-Tang Clan to build out the Metaverse, which will be the official metaverse for Method Man.
Thank you, Winbush. And last but not least, we have Nathan Anderson, who is the founder and CEO of New Canvas. And New Canvas is actually here at South by at the XR experience at the Fairmont. So if you do step out of the metaverse at some point, please come and meet us and check out the our project Lustration. Um, Nathan, please, you have the mic.
Thanks, so. Thank you. Yeah, so it's great to be here. It's pretty exciting to see everyone out there. Yeah, so as Wadua mentioned, we've got a project in the XR experience called Lustration, which is a 4-part animated series set in the afterlife. It's a fantasy noir project that we're animating in Quill, and yeah, it'll be coming out soon on Oculus TV. But so yeah, we're a production studio, but also distributing content. So primarily the content we make is narrative based, but we're looking at how interactivity plays a part in that. And I guess, our interest from a metaverse perspective is distribution and how we can build communities for the content we make.
And but I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Wadua Wali, and I am the Chief Strategy Officer for New Canvas. And we are excited to bring this panel to you today. Real quick, I want to check and see if we have our clips ready to roll again for CEEK and for New Canvas. And if not, we'll dive right into our panel chat.
No clips.
All right. No clips. No clips. All right. So let's get into the discussion. What is everyone doing here in the metaverse right now? And also, like as we know, we've heard a lot of conversation, a lot of different people talking about the metaverse and defining the metaverse. What is the metaverse to you? So let's talk about what you're doing and what does it mean to our fine panelists here.
To me, the metaverse is an extension of our physical reality. So it's your digital twin, it's living in this parallel universe or this ultimate universe, and you could pretty much do everything that you can do in life today in the metaverse as well, so much more. And it's a place where truly it's only just our imagination that limits what we're able to do there. So it's very unlimited, and that's what I love about the metaverse. What we're doing is enabling artists to do virtual tours, connect with their fans in new and exciting ways. And so when I think of this unlimited place, for example, we had a recent concert where we had with Ziggy Marley, there were 9.4 million people that attended it. So you cannot do that in the physical world, right? If in a place like Madison Square Garden taps out at around 21,000. So you can really imagine the new possibilities that this amazing alternate or parallel reality is going to create for everyone.
Well, especially in this pandemic world that we're still kind of kicking through right now. So we, like that, we don't have to worry about social distancing and just trying to stay safe and avoid pandemics. So thank you, Mary.
Exactly. And it's so intimate because I love the fact that I can look at everyone and I can actually physically be here with everyone. So really cool.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. To me, the metaverse is infinite possibilities. Yeah. And so the way that we're approaching our metaverse is we're actually building out a graphic novel for Method Man because he's really into comics. He does the Marvel podcast officially. And he wanted to come out with a comic book with him as a superhero. So what our metaverse is basically creating that graphic novel within a virtual world for people to experience, which is something that we thought was really cool because it gives us infinite possibilities as to what the end user can experience. So you might be walking through Shaolin, and you can see, Method Man fighting a criminal right there within the metaverse, which is you can't really replicate that in real life, which I think is really cool. And the method or the metaverse is just organic. Like as you start to work with your community that you're building there, they have ideas of stuff that they want to see, and you can implement those ideas because it's everyday people that are running the metaverse on the back end. Like the reason I like it is because it's giving power back to the independent artists because we don't have to rely on AAA studios to create this vision. Like we have the tools at our disposal that we could create what we want on the fly. So it's just cool to be able to implement and communicate with the general public to see what they want to see and bring that to life.
Very cool.
Yeah, I
Nathan.
mean, I'll just add to that. I guess I think that obviously the metaverse is something that's a work in progress. I feel like the technological barriers we have, there's still some issues with hardware that we need to resolve to be able to, make a more mainstream proposition. But it's essentially, it's happening. It's here now. We're in it, and I think what we're working on is exactly what Winbush, was just talking about. There is experiences and content within this environment. So we have great social, VR chat's a great social experience. Obviously, gaming, things like Fortnite and Roblox work. But what's the glue in between, and what's the meaningful narrative experiences that we as people will want to have? And that's sort of where I'm looking to focus it from a metaverse perspective. Is we don't just play games and chat. We do different things as well. We engage in stories. So how do those experiences adapt from traditional media into this space? And I think that's something we're going to need to evolve and work on over the next few years. So it's but it's I think that I add to that idea of the impossible really and made possible. So we're not restricted by geographic or physical boundaries, which is a pretty exciting opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that you all touched on is just working with creators. And I think
Mhm.
that this panel specifically, especially when we're talking about the difference between gaming and these immersive experiences, is working with creators. And Nathan, since you were just talking about it, I'll just kick it off with you. And what does it mean? What is it like to be working with artists, and what does this new space in the metaverse mean, and for how things are, things can be different, and how we architect those relationships to create those experiences.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think maybe that's one of the distinctions that we can see within a Web3 context around artists and creators in this space that can have a much more direct connection with their audience or their communities, and that they can have a two-way kind of I guess feedback loop, but also be able to be more empowered to own that connection as well, and not be disconnected between other layers to that. And I think so. We're looking at the social token for illustration, which we're going to launch around the public launch of the property. Will include elements that distribute royalties to the creators and the artists within the project that have obviously already been compensated in a normal service model for work that as part of the crew. But it's also about how that the success of the project can benefit them over and above that, and not just the rights holders of the content. And I think that's a big change we're seeing, in Web3, whereas the rights holders being, the bigger media companies essentially retain those profits and have that correct connection. And I think creators can be enabled to do that. And that's probably, well, one of the exciting things that we can talk about with creators and artists that are working on productions with us.
And the same to the question to you, Winbush and Mary, because in addition to just those social tokens, but also bringing people like Method Man and Lady Gaga, who aren't typically in spaces like this, and creating these new experiences and new relationships with them. Can you either both of you? I'd love to hear from you about those things too.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for
like
us, oh, okay, go ahead, Edwin Bush.
no, ladies first. Go ahead. You're good.
So for us, it's truly exciting because working with a lot of mega stars that want to be able to find new ways to connect with audiences, even though like we were doing the virtual touring before the pandemic. The pandemic was a huge catalyst in the sense that for a lot of artists that weren't maybe looking at accelerating their path to the metaverse, it became it means for them to look at, VR as a way to do more creative things. The other aspect that truly excites us about, the metaverse, and also, we launched one of the very first coins in terms of blockchain, the VR blockchain, and using actual tokens, in the metaverse. And the reason we did that is because we have a very huge global audience, and we also have global artists that we're working with, especially global independent artists that are in, places like Africa, Latin America, and other places that are not part of, the mainstream audiences in terms of payments. So payments was a huge challenge that we were able to solve by integrating all these different technologies, so that when we use our SEEK tokens, for example, the content, every time the content is consumed, the content usage is tracked on the blockchain. And then because we're using smart contracts, artists are automatically paid. And we could do that with independent artists because they have the ownership of their content. And then it also enables them to now access this global economy that they were not able to access before. So it's a win-win for everyone. And a big part of that is why we've been able to bring both the independent artists as well as, other mega stars that ordinarily maybe are a bit hesitant about, new technology, especially before their fans are there.
Great. I'm Winbush.
Yeah, I know for our situation specifically, just given the culture that the Wu Tang Clan has built over the past 25 years, the one thing that remained consistent is their dedication to their fan base. And, as you grow larger in your popularity, especially with Method Man, sometimes it's hard to engage with your fans because they have so many of them. And so, what the metaverse for us allows him to do is actually interact with his fans. Like, he'll pop into the Discord we created for him every now and then and chat with the community. But what he's most excited about is being able to show his fans his vision of what he's been building in his head and actually be inside of that world and, just hanging out and communicating with the general public, because that's the one thing that he is really, really um, engaged about, is just always trying to look out for his fans. Even when we did the one of one NFT with Method Man on Foundation, we had whales that wanted to come in and buy it for around 25 ETH, and he said, absolutely not. We're going to start it super low and give his fans the chance to, come in and bid on the project, because he built it for them, not for, like a mega conglomerate to come in and grab it. So that's what, we're most excited about, is just keeping our community tight knit and being able to explore new technologies and ways to be able to engage like never before.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, and I think just kind of building into that, let's just continue to talk about this fan first entertainment models that are just coming from this place in the metaverse, that are creating these opportunities to reward not just the creators, and especially creators in places where, like money and transactions and crypto is powering, is enabling people to get access to financial wealth, but also the fans, and that's rewarding
Hmm.
fans, not just in monetary ways, but in these fan first experiences. So can you talk a little bit about, some of the ways that, I think we touched on some of the ways that, rewarding some of the creators, but let's talk a little bit more about how this fan first model benefits everyone, including the businesses themselves, that, and the brands that are, and the people that are represented here.
Yeah, so as to the fans first, within the metaverse, we're going to have real estate, right? So the people will be able to buy apartments. Like Method Man is going to have the Meth Tower, and then we're going to have other sections as well, depending on where, the apartment or the condo you buy is located geologically within a metaverse. The tier of how expensive it is going to change. But what that gives you opportunity to do, if you're an entrepreneur, you can actually come in and flip that real estate, right? So that gives the everyday end user a chance to monetize there, as well as we have businesses within the metaverse. So that gives because the big thing people are asking us about was, of course we're going to be working with bigger brands, but how does the everyday person, maybe they have a clothing line or they might have some type of merch that they want to get exposure. And so we started setting up shops within the metaverse that these, maybe newer companies or ones that don't have as big of a brand, they could come in and rent store space, and then there they could kind of get exposure for the products as well. So I know one guy we were talking to, he has a clothing brand, and he was asking about creating a shop within the metaverse so that he could get exposure for his clothing brand and maybe even sell virtual t-shirts for the people's avatars and stuff. And so that's where we're kind of alluding to earlier as to getting the end user feedback and being able to implement it, because some of that stuff is stuff that we weren't thinking about, but it's a great idea, right? Because it gives everybody the opportunity to come in and to be able to monetize within your world, and that keeps them wanting to come back for more, right? Because once they get the opportunity to monetize, maybe they go and tell their other entrepreneurial friends, and then that brings in a whole slew of entrepreneurs. And before you know it, you have a living, breathing world within your metaverse full of entrepreneurs and full of people that are interested in those products, and it might actually go seek those people out in real life and get the real products.
And
Yeah, I was
I
just
was
gonna
just gonna
add.
try. Oh, just real quick, just because I think I'll try this clip thing one more time, just because I think there was something really cool in what Winbush was going to show. We were going to get a sneak peek of the Metaverse, and you were going to like be able to showcase some of those things in the Metaverse. But Argos, you can tell us if that's a no-go. And then I'll give it back to you. Like we were talking about the hardware problems here in the metaverse, but technology is technology too, and so that's just across the board. It's hardware, software.
I think it's gonna
Oh,
happen this time. I feel like it's gonna
okay,
happen.
let's move on.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna
Okay,
jump in
Nathan.
and say that what we were talking about Winbush with the, I guess with the reward for fans can kind of go, it goes on a few different levels, doesn't it? Where, if you think about traditional entertainment, you essentially the fan, there's fans that are engaged, but it's a one-way kind of, I guess, level of participation with the artist, both from the fact that no matter how much of a fan they are, they're not helping to grow that community necessarily too much. So this opportunity to participate and own tokens or own a component of that community means that they're incentivized to actually to make it grow. So they're actually working with the artist, and I think that's a new kind of element that's enabled through this blockchain, which we haven't seen, as well as being able to have any investment they make in the property be able to be resold and have a secondary market. And that's again, obviously that's new, but that really starts to reduce the I guess the distinctions between we're all creators in that sense. It's just there's different types of creators. There's people creating the content, and there's other people creating the community as well. And that's a really interesting model that we haven't seen before in entertainment, in this way anyway.
Mary, did you have anything you wanted to add to?
Yeah, it's pretty much, the same as enabling the fans of the artist, because fan art has been around forever, but now you can imagine those fan art becoming NFTs that fans can now also benefit from and make available. And then for us also, we're working with a lot of even traditional brands, helping them reinvent themselves in the metaverse. So maybe fans being able to create, new styles that are very popular on the platform, but then it can now also be a physical product that might be available in a retail store, and vice versa. So we're truly extending ways in which fans can now participate in this, amazing virtual, real economy through the CEEK Metaverse.
Yeah, and I think that in this way of you're talking about the newness and reaching new brands, and I think I just want to pivot a little bit into talking about the other differences that we see here, and part of the makeup of this panel, and why we wanted to put this panel together is talk about the opportunities around diversity. and that's diversity of artists and creators, and even the people helping to architect what this new metaverse looks like. And I think it's an I personally think it's an opportunity to not repeat the mistakes that we've seen in the creation of Web 2.0, and even in big Hollywood and big entertainment models. And so I'm really excited about the diversity just here on this panel and in this room, that we're bringing to the metaverse. And so I'll give it to whoever wants to talk about that. But I think that we all have unique perspectives and can rally around this.
I think that a lot of the opportunities around bringing a diverse group of creators into the metaverse is the fact that there's so many barriers that are removed compared to the physical world. I was just on a panel with someone, for example, who's built a whole virtual museum. And this is something that isn't possible in the real world. And so it's just really a great opportunity for everyone to get involved with um, shaping the future. The rules are being written now, so helping write those rules and bring just new concepts and new stories that people maybe haven't seen or haven't lived before in the metaverse. For me, it's very exciting because as an underestimated over being part of an underestimated and overlooked community, it also means that I can build something that can be great, for everyone. Because the way I look at it, when you're underestimated, it multiplies your opportunities because you're part of a group that whose stories haven't been told, whose concepts haven't been experienced. It's not oversaturated. So here's a brand new way to then build something that other people can be a part of. So, and it's very, very important that we share what we're doing so others can come in because this is Web 3.0 and we don't want to be, we don't want the same communities getting left behind. It's an opportunity to, make it as inclusive as possible.
And yeah, and we've talked about the fact that, I mean, like as an underestimated founder, your journey to even, putting the money together didn't necessarily come from Silicon Valley. And so while we
Mm-hmm.
all hear these things about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging being these key words, I mean, like it's one thing to be checking boxes, but it's another thing to be here in the space and doing it and finding these workaround ways to bringing, voices or bringing companies into reality here, or
Yeah,
virtual
it's
reality.
about the community. It's exactly it. It's about the community. So when you build something exciting that the community loves and wants to be a part of, there's no middle person. There's no box checker to say that no, we're not going to let you in. Those gatekeepers are kind of out of the way, and that's the beauty of the metaverse. That's the beauty of the blockchain communities is that you're going directly to your audience and to your community. And either they love it or they don't. It's really supply and demand working at its best. You build the content. There is no invisible checkbox. There's no invisible hand that keeps you out. And that's what I love about, being part of all of this, the metaverse and the blockchain and so on and so forth. To
And,
buy the community.
and Nathan,
Yeah,
I mean,
and if
just coming from the land down under, I mean, it just like our story with lustration. And can you talk a little bit about this opportunity for underrepresented voices to be able to engage in different storytelling?
Yeah. So yeah, coming from Australia, obviously it's a further away market from North America and I guess the Northern Hemisphere in general. But so yeah, this non-geographic environment certainly helps. I think from the illustration perspective specifically, it's created and written and directed by a First Nations Australian filmmaker, a guy called Ryan Griffin, and so that's enabling for him, but also the content and the way he's developing the stories is something which we think is really unique, and it's not necessarily something we're seeing in mainstream media at this point. So it's just I guess it's an opportunity that yeah, as Mary said, just enables different types of creators to come into a space and be more free with how they're expressing their thoughts and those kind of stories as well.
If I
And to a
can
big
Sorry,
add on.
extent,
Nancy.
okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say real quick to add on top of that. I think the biggest thing that I've been seeing in the Web3 space is allowing a more equal playing field across the board for just world representation all around. Like I've been working in Hollywood since around 2006, so it's been around 15 years now, and I know all about the gatekeeping that happens in entertainment. And a lot of times there's a lot of really talented artists just around the world, whether it's in India, South Korea, South Africa. Like we've had artists reach out to various studios wanting work. And a lot of times we only sent them, the grunt work that nobody else wanted, like rotoscoping or stuff like that. And we'll send it to like Chile or something because they were super cheap and nobody wanted to do that work, which is kind of demoralizing for those artists because they could bring a lot more to the table, right? So within this Web3 space, it's allowing those artists to actually show and represent their creative side and actually be able to monetize upon that. Yeah, because trying to go through the traditional route of going through Hollywood, a lot of times they only wanted to really work with the local artists that could actually come to the studios here in Los Angeles and be able to work in real time. But with Web3, you're able to connect with people all around the world virtually, like in here or on Twitter or on Discord, etc. And it's allowing these artists to, be able to actually showcase the work and be celebrated for it.
Well, and even though
Absolutely.
you were
And the
talking,
fact that,
go ahead, Barry. I'm
oh,
sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say, and the fact that you could be anyone that you want to be, and that people are really just seeing you for your talent. Like I'm looking around the room and I see these amazing avatars like Crispy, Fly, and Mimiku and everybody else that's in here. And it's just being whoever you want to be. So when we're communicating and connecting, a lot of times it's just on passions and values and more important things than a lot of the things that the old systems have been built on.
And just to build into that, I mean, like I think it all connects to what you said something earlier about community, Mary, and I know Winbush when we were looking at the clip. I mean, looking at some of the things being brought into the world of the Metaverse. You're talking about having people tagging all over the world and having that art, that real life art that they're doing in places like Argentina or Brazil, and bringing it into the metaverse. And it just builds into this community, and it helps to amplify their work.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. Like we've enlisted around 25 creatives in the real world, and they're mural artists and graffiti artists. And so we've actually, taken our metaverse into the real world in these areas such as Argentina, Chile, Egypt, parts of the United States. And we're just working with these mural artists and hiring them to do, murals of their interpretation of the metaverse on, the side of buildings and stuff like that. And once they have their mural done, we take images of that and then we bring that into the metaverse. And so, we're creating opportunities for these artists because they have the mural. Say the guy in Argentina, he set up his mural in Argentina, but you can only view that if you're specifically in that location or if he posted pictures on Instagram and Twitter, etc. But now we allow him the opportunity to bring his creative side to the metaverse, and we're going to virtually be showcasing his mural where people can actually walk around it and really appreciate it. So it's some of the cool stuff like that we're trying to do to just really push creatives in general.
And build community and pull and create a more democratized and decentralized experience for everyone. And just one more question for the panel, and then I think we'll open it up for to the audience to see if anybody has any questions. But I think that in general, all of these things that we're talking about kind of lend themselves to this idea of a digital renaissance that we're having here in the metaverse. But that's my personal opinion. I don't know if the rest of you agree, or if you think that we're kind of infringing now with everybody jumping in from Sotheby's to Red Bull to this becoming overhyped and something and so many big brands jumping in with their money bags and like do you see this as as being a potential for a tipping point in a good way or a bad way?
I could see it
I
being
believe.
both
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
at the beginning, when I first started this, when it was really, really early and it was really niche, the whole premise around this whole, crypto space and metaverse space was it was empowering the artists. Like now we finally had a way that we can monetize and we could be appreciated for our work. And as the space started to grow, we started to see the bigger brands come in, as you said, with the money bags and buying out a lot of the artists in the space and kind of just buying their way into the space, which is kind of it's disappointing, but I understand it at the same time, right? Like at the beginning, a lot of artists were saying they wanted to be 50-50 with the brand. So if you're approached by a celebrity or a brand, instead of just taking a day rate or a cut, you say, I want 50-50 on this because, this is my space and I know how to navigate this space and you're coming to me for my expertise. But as the space started to grow and the bigger brands started to throw bigger money, I've seen a lot of artists kind of defer from that. And so, like I would just say be careful of how we navigate the space because it's so new that we do have the power, but a lot of artists don't understand that. And so we kind of have to navigate this space together and educate so that we don't make the same mistakes as in Web 2, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm. I believe is a positive because when you look at a lot of the brands that are coming in, as Winbush said, we've been trying to push this whole VR and metaverse for a very long time, but it's continued to remain very niche. But with bigger brands coming in with the massive audiences and the commitment to the space, we could still write the rules. We could still, it's really no different than, new social media platforms. A lot of those platforms run on advertising. A lot of those platforms run on having, large commercial wherewithal to be able to build more interesting and exciting things. So I see it as a positive. If we can bring a brand that has, 30 million people and we can offer exciting experiences for those 30 million customers that they have, and they can come into the metaverse because it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get mainstream adoption, which is where we're going to have that tipping point without having the massive brand embracing it. Because we've been trying to do the metaverse for a while. So I only see it as a positive and a tipping point for the technology. Rising, tides raise all ships. And we are all in this, metaverse ship that I think that a lot of these big brands can help raise, that tide.
Nathan,
Yeah, I
anything
would
you want to? Yeah.
definitely add to that as well. I think it's a good thing, as you say. It's all about, whereas it's about the growth of the space. I think one of the things I've observed as well is, specifically regarding blockchain and kind of any crypto components, that any big brands coming in to try and get involved in that need to be really careful about the ethos and their approach, because it's a much, from the community that's here at the moment, it's a much more genuine and authentic, creator environment. And if you have a brand coming in that's got an ulterior motive, that's essentially trying to do something, that serves their purposes but is not actually benefiting a community, then I think and we've already seen that go bad as well, where, there's some attempts at NFT drops from brands that has just, fallen flat. And so I think that in some ways that's a good thing for, also for the independent creators and artists, because it is about being authentic and, as a, to what you're doing. And I think, as we've seen, brands aren't always like that. So it's a good thing. I think, that there's going to be some money coming in, but it also in some ways is a, it's a challenge for them to do that in an appropriate way that helps them, and not kind of works against their goals as well.
Great. Well, and then the last thing I'll just ask before we turn it over to the audience is, what's next? I mean, where can people find what everyone is working on? Anything upcoming that you want to throw out that the audience should keep an eye out for, engage in, and where can they join your communities?
Yeah, I could take it first. So, my biggest social platform right now would be YouTube. I'm actually a part of the YouTube Black Creator Fund 2022, and I'm also a recipient of the Epic Games Mega Grant. And the reason I'm a part of these is because I do education through YouTube for CG artists, motion graphics artists of the like. And so, I do free education through my platform. So you can find me there at youtube.com/Jonathan Winbush. And then for all the stuff that we're doing with the Metaverse, you could go to metaverse.io. That's MEFAVERSE.io.
Thank you.
Mhm. And for us, you can find us on all our socials at CEEK, which is CEEK. And then, of course, we have the CEEK VR app and CEEK VR Metaverse. And we have a lot of amazing concerts and parties that are coming with some of your favorite artists and also a lot of new independent artists to discover. So we invite all of you to be part of Seek to Seek a New Reality with us.
Thank you, Mary. And Nathan.
Cool. Yeah. So after we finish at South by Southwest, we'll be launching Lustration on Oculus TV. So we'll be announcing those dates soon, but that'll be coming really quickly, really soon. If you want to find out more about the social token and just about the project in general, go to our website lustration.co, which is LUSTRATION and you sign up for the socials there, and we'll be launching our Discord server in the coming week, and then the social token pretty soon after that as well. So just follow us on any of the socials, and we'll let you know as it comes out.
Great. And now we'll open up the floor for audience questions if you have any. Or if South by
Are they able
what do we
to
call
talk
it?
from the audience, or would they have to come on stage?
Oh, I think we can hear everyone. I think.
I love all the different avatars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure
Uh,
because the audience was so quiet, so I didn't know if we could actually hear them or not.
well, I know they have it muted, but I thought that they had the ability to bring people up or to unmute them.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Well, yeah, if anybody's trying to ask any questions, maybe walk to the front and then, yeah, see if we can hear
yeah.
you or if we need to pull you up.
Yeah, and I will message people as well.
Oh, there's a question.
I have a question.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
So
Hi,
Anna,
Crispy
hi.
Taffy.
Hi, hello. I'm connecting from Japan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So I have a question. So now, like a metaverse, have a very different platforms like VR chat or outer space VR, or there are a lot of platforms. So it's quite difficult to connect each other. Like we have to move each platform at one time by time. Do you think that it will become much easier to access to the different platform in the near future?
Mhm.
Do you think?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely interoperability is key. And what we're seeing is that we, at least at Seek, we're available on Oculus, we're available on HTC. So I think that the trend in the industry is going to be to make sure that you can get from one metaverse to the other more easily as hardware improves, as software improves. We're going to be able to do that more, but it's going to be a very, very important key in terms of, building and growing the metaverse.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a critical foundation step we need to build. That needs to be built is that connection between these environments, because you're right, there's no, they're siloed at the moment, and that's something we need to resolve. That might come down to just avatars that can work across environments, but also connections between these worlds too. So I think it'll be some of the bigger tech companies that kind of need to start the foundation for that. I think WebXR is probably, or OpenXR, sorry, there's some standards that need to be adopted, I think, which is going to help. But yeah, that is a building block which we haven't got yet. I think we'll need that before we can start to get a persistent kind of metaverse experience that is, is enjoyable and meaningful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think in the short term, a lot of these platforms usually hook up to your crypto wallet, right? So like if it's a MetaMask, at least you have that one solid foundation to log into the different platforms. As into all the platforms working together, I think that's more of a long-term approach because everybody's platform is built on different tech, right? So it's going to be more, as everybody on the stage alluded to, it's going to take more of a unified effort to kind of bring that together. But right now, I think we're so early in the space that everybody's trying to, just work on their infrastructure and get things running. So I think in the long term, yes, but in the short term, I think the best you could do right now is, just have at least that unifying login with like your MetaMask
Mhm.
account.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. More questions? All right.
I, I have a question. I guess it's for
Uh,
everybody on the panel.
Yeah,
So,
feel free.
yeah, just moving forward, let's say maybe like 2, 3 years down the line, like what are you guys most excited about for the future of the metaverse and where do you see it really going?
Mm.
We're most excited about a lot of the educational uses that we're seeing of the metaverse and the way it's empowering people in brand new ways. Like during the pandemic, for example, we were seeing a lot of frontline workers using our chill spaces to unplug, to relax, and as wellness, unplug from all the tough things that they were dealing with. We love uses such as that, and then also seeing even like cancer patients and other people that are going through very tough times that are using the platform not just for entertainment, but also are using Seek to be able to really escape whatever the particular realities that they're experiencing at the time. And then for educational purposes, like we've done stuff for hospitals and stuff like that, infant, CPR, all kinds of stuff. So those opportunities and those experiences really super excite me, and that our users are really helping us build what it is that they want to see. For example, I created Seek because when I first experienced the Oculus, I wanted to be able to do everything inside of Seek. I wanted to go to concerts, sports events, and everything that wasn't available. I said, wow, it would be great to be able to create this place where music fans can come together and be able to have the same energy as you would in real life, as close as possible, at least. And so created Seek. So I'm just excited to see what our users create and how they can help us, build the community into the type of things that they want to experience that is not available in the world today.
Yeah, I think some of the things I'm looking forward to are hardware-based advancements, which I think some are coming quite soon. Things like eye tracking and face tracking that'll enable more meaningful expression in these sorts of environments, but also in any social experiences, games and content based. And that I think there is some hardware already that is doing that, but it's kind of not. It's still quite expensive. So I think that will, over the next 12, 18 months, that'll become pretty common. And the other thing which I am interested in from a content perspective, it's not necessarily well, I guess it's a metaverse concept is the aspect of color pass through on VR headsets and how we can blend, I guess, physical world components of what's around people with virtual elements. And I feel like that's important for mainstream audiences. I think all of the people in this room are probably quite happy to jump into a full virtual environment and are competent in that. But I think there's a big section of the I guess society that will want to have a bit more of a kind of a scaffolded approach into immersive that might include being able to see parts of their house or room through the experience as well as the virtual. And it's so I think pass through AR or color pass through cameras that are coming out will really help with that. And I think that the Apple device that is rumored to be coming will kind of push that forward a bit too. So those technical advances will enable new content opportunities as well, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's really important because just working in the VR space for a while, a lot of people do, especially when they're new to VR, they do get that motion sickness and their equilibrium is
Yep.
kind of thrown off. And so, yeah, no, it was a few years ago, Vive actually showcased some stuff with the pass through. I think it was on the Vive Pro. And
Yep.
just experimenting with that, it seemed to help people out just because they have a real sense of where they stand in the real world and not totally thrown into a virtual experience, kind of help them find their bounce in their center of gravity. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think that's very important moving forward.
What else
Yeah,
are you
for
interested
sure.
in? What's your exciting things ahead?
For me, like I'm just a fan of technology in general, so like just the unknown of where everything is going kind of excites me. Like I always look back at Fortnite as kind of like a blueprint of what's happening with the metaverse right now, right? Because Fortnite started as something totally different than what it is today. And that was just through organic growth and kind of just navigating through the space. And so I see the same thing happening with the metaverse. Like what it is today is definitely not what it's going to be tomorrow because, you have people like you guys here on the stage that are kind of helping to mold where it's going to go. And then also the community, they're going to have their input as well. And so just having something that is, I guess, synthetic, but also it's almost like a living, breathing entity, right? Because it's just growing, like how a human would grow from an infant to an adult. That's kind of like what we're seeing here. Like this space is going to continuously grow into adulthood, and we don't know what it's
Mm.
going to end up like. So that part's really exciting.
Mm.
Well, great. And does anyone else on the stage have any other questions or anyone from the audience? If not, I think we're just about at time for our panel.
Ooh,
And
did
with
we ever
that,
get the video stuff working or no?
No.
no, unfortunately not.
Uh,
And but if you follow the folks on stage, you'll get access to some of this content and see some of the exciting things that are happening. And thank you for being a part of this community building and this world building. We're here because we are committed to building this metaverse, and it takes all of us here to do it and continue to do it. So thank you all the panelists here for your time. Mary, Winbush, Nathan. Again, my name is Wadua. Thank you to our audience for joining us. And I hope you have a great rest of your South by experience. And we'll see you in the metaverse.
Thanks, Wadua.
yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
guys. Appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you so much. And thank you for
Thanks.
being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Let
you.
me see if I can
Bye.
flip on the edge here.
Well,
Yeah.
I got to get better with my emojis.
Yeah.
I know. I love the emojis. I saw a candy
Yeah.
one. Whoever did that, do it
Yeah, I
again.
threw that at you. Yeah, just because I was like,
Yeah, all right.
yeah, that's sweet.
Oh, you did. Ah, there's money.
Yeah.
There you go.
Money.
Dollar bill.
Someone left
Yeah.
a beer down
Oh,
here. I
love
think I
it.
can
There it
I
is.
have
know.
some of that.
Yeah.
It's my twin back there that has the all that
Ah,
That's
candy.
funny.
Yeah.
we're a bit early for beer. I might.
Presents for you all. Presents for everyone.
Yeah, well, how's
Thanks.
Southwest been in real life,
Alright.
like on the ground level? Because I couldn't make it to Texas this year. Like, it's a good crowd, yeah.
It's actually pretty
Yeah.
good. There's lots happening, and there seems to be a lot of people around. Yeah, I think everyone's excited to be back in person again after a couple of years. So, yeah,
Even at 60%, there's still a lot going on.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been tracking it through Twitter and stuff, but yeah, it's good to see everybody getting out and about again and,
yeah,
communicating in real life.
Yeah.
yeah. It's different. We were saying it's quite quite tiring. You're not used to kind of being out at a festival, for multiple days. It's a different. We've got to get our festival fitness back.
Yeah,
It's a different
festival
thing.
fitness is right. I mean, first day we're like, what? People, real life,
That's right.
walking,
Right.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. It'll become normal
Yeah.
again before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No.
Just
Hopefully.
got to get
Hopefully.
our sea legs or non-pandemic legs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I
Cool.
think
All right.
we can leave the stage, and thank you both, Winbush, Mary, for joining us again today. And I'm sorry that we couldn't get the close to run. That's a little disappointing.
No,
But I think the
all
rest of the
good.
conversation was.
Cool.
And
Thanks.
like I
Good.
See
said,
you
I'll
all
Wait to
send
soon.
see
you
the
the link.
video.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll send you
Awesome.
the video as soon as it's available.
Awesome.
Awesome. Take care, y'all.
All
Take
right.
care,
Thanks.
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Teleporting to another metaverse.
You're
All
going.
right.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. How did you guys get to Gumbo and